The Monday, May 2nd, 2022 City of Vandalia Council meeting is now called to order. We'll start with a moment of reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Council, you had an opportunity to review the study session minutes of March 21st, the council meeting minutes of March 21st, and the study session minutes of April 4th, and the council meeting minutes of April 4th. Are there any comments or questions? Being none, they stand approved. That brings us to communications, petitions, and awards. And the first item, we have the introduction and oath of office for Firefighter Jacob Walters. Mr. Wendt.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I would ask Chief Follick to come up and maybe give a little bit of an introduction of Firefighter, Paramedic, Inspector Jacob Walters.
Good evening again. We're excited tonight to bring Jacob Walters, a firefighter, paramedic, inspector, on to the Division of Fire. Jacob's been with us just over a year now as a part-time employee, and we always like to see those those guys transition to full-time positions. Jacob is engaged in paramedics training, so our hope is that he'll complete his paramedics training here prior to December 1st. Or prior to the first of the year, and will be then full service career employee of the organization. He's being assigned to Captain Miller's shift, so we are eager to get him on board and take up that space on the shift for us.
Thank you very much, Chief. Mr. Walters, I'll ask you to come up here and I'll administer your oath of office. Mr. Walters is not just engaged in paramedic school, he's also engaged to Ryan, who is also here, his parents, Travis, Mrs. Walter, whose name I didn't catch, and his little sister, Grace. And we're a family employer. Would you mind joining us up here for a swear-in, if that's not too excessive?
They want to look at you. Okay. Will you please raise your hand? I, Jacob Walters, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and will obey the laws of the United States and the state of Ohio, that I will in all respects observe the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the city of Vandalia, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of firefighter paramedic inspector within the Division of Fire. Why don't you go ahead and, while I do this, why don't you shove that right through that nice jacket?
What do you mean tonight? I was at the post office. I had to get taxes and stuff in the mail. Right on. All right, well, thank you very much. Welcome. No, we're losing half our audience now.
Stay, we're going to do really good government stuff here. Oh, yeah.
All right, next we have the introduction of Mr. Robert Martin, Electrical Inspector. Again, Mr. Wendt.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I'd like to introduce Mr. Robert Martin. Mr. Martin has extensive experience. He was most recently the building official manager. He's been a supervisor and inspector for Montgomery County. Before he worked in the private sector prior to 2004. He's been an electrical safety inspector, holds the building official license, several other credentials. One of the things that really stuck out to me about Mr. Martin in our recruitment is the excellent references that he has from the business community. And so Mr. Martin is a person who very much understands the role of development and engineering services as it relates to the city's economic development efforts, and I'm sure that we're going to get a great customer service product out of him. Also an emerging leader from the University of Dayton program. So I don't know if you want to say any words.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
He starts tomorrow.
All right.
So
Great.
Great
thank
job.
you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have a proclamation for State Farm Insurance, who's going to be celebrating their 100th anniversary here on June 7th. So at this time, I'd like to ask David Yenney, Cameron Titlow, and Jack Herbst to come up to the podium. We're excited to have companies like yours here in the city of Vandalia because of your commitment. I know you've been involved sponsoring items at the rec center. I know you've personally been involved working with the food pantry and also worked with providing meals to our first responders. So we appreciate your commitment to our community and you're what makes Vandalia a great place to live and work. We do have a proclamation here that I'm going to read to you to celebrate the 100 years. I'll step up here and make sure I'm on the mic here. Whereas State Farm is celebrating its 100th anniversary in 2022. Whereas the city of Vandalia recognizes the positive impact of the company and its agents have on the community as they have been taking care of customers in Ohio since 1953. Whereas State Farm was founded in the United States on the 7th of June in the year 1922 by G.J. Marshall, a farmer from Myrna, Illinois. Now, therefore, I, Richard Herbst, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Vandalia, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, June 7, 2022, as State Farm Day in the city of Vandalia, and call upon the residents of this city to observe this day by demonstrating what is a good neighbor, demonstrating what being a good neighbor is all about, through acts of kindness and making people feel welcome. All right. Congratulations.
I just say something really quick, kind of on behalf of all of us. On behalf of Cameron, Steve Reed, and Jack, and myself, just want to say thank you to Mayor Herbst, the City Council, City of Vandalia, presenting us with this proclamation. 100 years is a really long time. Very few companies are in business for 100 years. State Farm's not only in business, but honestly is thriving and growing and has led our industry for many decades. While State Farm is a large company, Cameron, Steve, and myself run our own small businesses right here in Vandalia. We're all blessed to have the opportunity to own and run a small business in a town like Vandalia. The three of us truly try to share that gratitude with the way in which we give back to the community, whether it's donating money or donating our time and volunteering within the community. We want to make the city of Vandalia a better place to live and work. So thank you again, Mayor Herbst, for making June 7th, 2022 State Farm Day within the city of Vandalia.
Thank you.
suffer.
All right, we have no public hearing, and that brings us to comments from interested citizens. So if anyone would like to make a comment, please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and your comment. And if there's anyone online that would like to speak, please raise your virtual hand. All right. Being none, I will close the public hearing on comments from interested citizens. And that brings us to the city manager report. We have a couple of information items. Mr. Wendt?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I would just like to remind everyone that National Day of Prayer is Thursday, May 5th, 2022. National Day of Prayer breakfast will be held at First Light Church from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Breakfast will begin at 8:30 a.m. in the fellowship hall, and the prayer service will begin at 9:15 in the sanctuary. This event is free to the community. Also, we will hold our council spring retreat on Monday, May 9th. The spring retreat will be held at Shen's in the business room from 4 p.m. until, I don't know, midnight, 1 o'clock, probably 8 p.m. I think is what we're shooting for. The other thing that I will add in, if you've been on National Road heading westbound, you may have noticed that the city's first public mural has started. That's very exciting, and the Vandalia Arts Council, the grant that Assistant City Manager Holloway has received, as well as Culture Works and Montgomery County Arts helping to make that possible. We are going to have a community paint day on the 14th, so everyone can contribute to painting that mural. That will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, I'll take this moment to let everyone know that the Park and Rec mail-out surveys for the master plan will start to hit mailboxes soon in early May, and so 2,500 households have been randomly selected. We'll use that to get a statistically valid result that gives us 95% confidence that the results are within 5% of the population parameter, meaning that it's not due to some sort of selection bias. For those that are not included in the mail-out survey, there will be an opportunity to participate in an online survey coming in late May or June. And so please keep your eye out for that, and we appreciate this opportunity to use this data to drive decision-making.
Thank you, Mr. Wendt. We have no old business, nor do we have any resolutions, which I think is probably a first since I've been on City Council. And that brings us to our first ordinance tonight, that being Ordinance 22-16. Mr. McDonald, by title only.
An ordinance amending Section 67810 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Vandalia relating to fireworks.
Thank you. Mr. Wendt.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. In 2021, Ohio passed House Bill 172 into law. The new state law goes into effect on July 1st and will make displaying fireworks legal on certain recognized holidays or celebrations. Where manufacturing and setting off fireworks was previously prevented in Ohio Revised Code, now local jurisdictions must determine what's right for their individual communities. To better ensure the safety and stability of the city of Vandalia and its residents, I recommend passage of both ordinances 22-16 and 22-17. Together, these ordinances will limit fireworks displays in town to professionals who are licensed. The ordinance excludes any prohibition of wire sparklers, novelties, or trick noisemakers, and includes a prohibition of manufacturing, wholesale, and setting off or displaying Class 1.3G explosives and 1.4G explosives within the city's municipal corporate limits. This is the current status in town, and I believe that it is appropriate to pass both 22-16 and 22-17.
All right. Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Your Honor, I'll move to approve ordinance 22-16 in the first reading.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Follick and a second by Councilman Blakesley to approve Ordinance 22-16 in its first reading. Are there any comments? Call the roll.
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Follick,
Yes.
Councilmember Farce,
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Next, we have ordinance 22-17. Mr. McDonald, by title.
An ordinance amending the Vandalia zoning code, section 121803B, prohibited uses to prohibit the retail sales, manufacturing, and wholesaling of 1.3G and certain 1.4G fireworks.
You want to let your comment stand?
Yes, sir. The only thing that I'll add is that the Planning Commission voted 3-0 to recommend, oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. That'll just stand as it is. They voted 3-0 to recommend approval of this request.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Your Honor, I'll move that we approve resolution or ordinance 2217 in its first reading.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Lewis and a second by Councilman Blakesley to approve ordinance 22-17 in its first reading. Are there any comments from council?
Real quick, I meant to bring it up in the study session, forgot. Probably for the first ordinance, are we going to do a good amount of communications? Because, I mean, state law is going to allow it, so I think we need to make sure we communicate to the public that on all these holidays that they are now allowed, they're not allowed in Vandalia.
We'll make sure that it's done.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Follak,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers,
Yes.
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Next, we have ordinance 22-18.
An ordinance rezoning .996 acres of land located at 3324 Benchwood Road from gateway business to highway business and amending the zoning map of the city.
Thank you. Mr. Wendt?
Thank you, Your Honor. I've included in your packets a memorandum wherein the applicant, RVP Engineering LLC, on behalf of EROP, has submitted an application requesting a rezoning of the property located at 3324 Benchwood Road from gateway business to highway business. The purpose of the request is to allow for the construction of an automatic express car wash. The Planning Commission voted 3-0 to recommend denial of the proposed amendment to the City of Vandalia's zoning map.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to deny ordinance 22-18 in its first reading.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Fairst and a second by Councilman Ehlers to deny ordinance 22-18 in its first reading. Are there any comments?
Just, does this have to go to a second reading?
Yeah, I'll just remind council it will need to go to a second reading. So,
Okay.
Change anything?
I'm sorry?
Nothing? I'm
Okay.
talking to him.
Go ahead.
Councilmember Follak,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ehlers,
Yeah.
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0 to deny ordinance 22-18 in its first reading. That brings us to ordinances in their second reading. First one being ordinance 22-15.
And just to address some of the looks I'm getting by our code, we're still required to go to the second reading, even though this was denied in the first reading.
Yes.
Just make sure we're, okay,
Clear.
sorry.
Thank you.
We're on.
No problem.
We're all on the same page, I guess. Where am I now? 2215, an ordinance amending the Vandalia zoning code and map to include the Vandalia City Center overlay.
Thank you. Mr. Wendt?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. The Vandalia City Council authorized staff to initiate an application for a zoning map and text amendment. The proposed zoning code amendment is for the purpose of creating a new overlay district, the Vandalia City Center overlay, which includes its proposed location, uses, development standards, and applicability to other existing regulations. The Planning Commission voted 5-0 to recommend approval of the proposed amendments to the city's zoning code and zoning map, and this is just one step in the long journey of creating a mixed-use development and more discernible downtown in the city of Vandalia.
All right, thank you. And since this is an ordinance in its second reading, I'll open a public hearing. So if anyone would like to comment on ordinance 22-15, please step to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and your comment. Or if anyone online would like to speak. Being none, I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance 2215 in its second reading.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Ayers and a second by Councilwoman Farsh to approve Ordinance 22-15 in its second reading. Are there any comments? Call the roll.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers,
Yes.
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Follak,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. We have no emergency ordinances, and that brings us to reports from boards and commissions. The first item we have is a variance for a front yard setback at 527 Gold Leaf Avenue. Mr. Wendt?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. The applicant, Jerry and Barb, I apologize ahead of time, Suter? Sutter, that was going to be my second guess, has requested a variance to allow for the construction of a 8 by 20 foot covered porch. The porch, if constructed, would encroach 8 feet into the required 35-foot front setback. The Board of Zoning Appeals voted 4-0 to recommend approval of the requested variance, and I recommend the same.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
Your Honor, I'll move to approve the variance for the front yard setback at 527 Gold Leaf Avenue.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Follak and a second by Vice Mayor Lewis to approve the variance of the front yard setback at 527 Gold Leaf Avenue. Are there any comments from council? Call the roll.
Councilmember Ayers,
Yes.
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Follak,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. And that brings us to comments from council. Mr. McDonald?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Wendt?
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
Councilman Ayers?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Councilman Follak?
Just to welcome Culvers, the mayor and Mr. Wendt and some staff were there this morning with us, so it was good to see that project come to fruition, and thank you to the Myers and Potts families for investing in our community. And then just real quick to recognize Mrs. Schwartz and formerly Mrs. Przinski in her role. I believe it's National Municipal Clerk Week. So congratulations, if you didn't know that, that's a thing.
That slipped by me.
Obviously, they do a lot of work year-round, so it's good that they got a week dedicated to them.
All right. That'll,
So,
thank you. Councilwoman Farst?
I have a lot tonight. First of all, congratulations to Dave Yenney. He does a lot of giving back to the community, especially this year. He's our Rotary president, so he works really hard at that. So congratulations. Also, congratulations, thank you to Amber. She did a ton of work, and most of the work on the trying to get everybody going in the same direction on the mural. And I think it's going to turn out wonderfully, and so thank you very much. I was able to do a Zoom call with Mr. Svets for the Parks and Rec questionnaire, and I happened to be on with Jeff Hoagland, so it was a nice time to communicate all our thoughts about our Parks and Rec program going forward, so that was really appreciated. Also, I wanted to report back that the Vandalia Butler Foundation event, Celebrate the Magic, was a financial success. And so what they'll do with that money is divided between 3 of the funds that work in the city of Vandalia. So one's the Visions Fund, and one is 2185, which is our grant fund. And the other one is into another fund that eventually will go back into that PAT facility. So it was well received and did really well. So thank you to the community and especially Denise Eder for putting that forward. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Blakesley?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilwoman Woods?
Nothing, thank you.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Thank you.
And I have no comments. So at this time, next item is executive session to discuss the purchase of sale of real property and to consider the personnel matters pertaining to employment, dismissal, or discipline of a public employee, and to discuss collective bargaining matters and strategy. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
second.
Call the roll.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Councilman Follak?
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Follak,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. I'll ask Director Cron to hang back. Mr. Davies is going to help me with a presentation of some items that are up here.
All right. Well, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Congratulations on your 100-year anniversary.
Did we preempt your fireworks display then?